You see, now we're in this thing of the next 6 weeks is going to be a lot of hip, low back SI, hip, low back SI, hip, low back, just all bunched up together because it's really hard. You gotta be able to differentially diagnose to decide, is it the back, the hip, both, SI? Okay, so we're gonna talk about the neural tension testing. So we'll do straight leg raise first. So go ahead and lay your hands down by your side, relax here, and you can be my assistant with this. Okay, so I'm gonna keep knee extended, let the ankle be in plantar flexion. I'm gonna come back up, tell me if you feel any symptoms. I'm gonna come straight into sagittal plane. Any problem with that?
This is a different problem, but my fibular, right on my fibular head burns, but
Okay.
I get it a lot, all the time.
Okay. All right. Is it burning right
Just
now?
starting to, yeah,
Okay. Go away.
a little bit, it's still kind of there. Yeah, I go one way there. It's like it's starting to come back, but not there yet. There, yeah, that did it.
How about now?
It didn't go away. Maybe a little less.
Okay.
I seem to get it more with like more reflection.
Okay. How about there?
There a lot. Yeah.
Okay, so that's neurodynamic testing. So what we're doing is testing the nerve, in this case sciatic nerve, and we're putting it through tension and then sensitizing or desensitizing it by adding more tension or less tension across local joints, okay? So if I do this, I just bring him up, and he says, yeah, I get some burning right here. What tissues could it be? Could be gastroc, could be hamstring, could be nerve, could be IT band, could be posterior knee capsule, could be the tib fib joint, right? Okay. So if I back off, how about now? You doing okay there? Fine, yeah?
Yeah, I feel it a little bit. But
Feel a little bit? And if I do that,
that worsens it.
that worsens it. So that could be gastroc, right? But it wouldn't be hamstring because I put its hamstring on a little less slack. That makes sense? Okay. So I'll take his gastroc off. How's that?
Probably worse.
Worse
I feel it a little bit more.
if I do that?
Yeah, it's like right there.
Okay, so now I put his peroneal nerve on a bit more stretch across the front of his ankle. And if I do that,
A little less.
a little less.
Yeah.
Okay. If I do
About the same.
about the same. Come around.
And you were moving in between it, I felt it a lot.
Okay.
Yeah, that gives it a little bit.
Internally rotate. So if I internally rotate, that doesn't change his gastroc or his hamstring, but it does change his nerve tension. Okay, and then if I do
There, it starts to kick more.
kick more, and if I do that,
That backs it off.
backs it off. Can you do me a favor now? Take him, do a chin to chest.
That's starting to get pretty good there. I can feel it quite a bit.
Okay, how about there? Okay.
It's burning pretty good.
Okay, let's let it settle down a bit first. Okay, so I think there's some neural tension thing. How are you?
It's okay. It burns a little bit, but it's not too bad.
Tell me when it.
Right there.
Still burning pretty good. Okay, bring his chin up. Now take your chin back down.
It's hard to tell if it's changing a lot, because it's kind of
Kind of fired up
fired
now.
on, but like, maybe it dials back a little bit when my head goes back down.
Okay, so can you sit up on the, do you get it on your other leg?
More on the right one, but I have got it on the left before.
Alright, so that's the straight leg raise. If it's positive under about 30 degrees, this says 40 degrees in that study at least, it indicates probably a herniated disc, lumbar spine, and irritated nerve root. But this is not herniated disc, this is some neural tension problem.
I kind of got the impression that it might be right where my nerve is running across my
Across
fibula.
your
It's just
fibula.
irritation more than
Yeah.
it is.
So, yeah, exactly, and it's not the same, not a radiculopathy or peripheral nerve injury, it's just some irritability of it. And it's tethered at the fibular head.
Yeah, it doesn't like radiate really bad.
Yeah, so if you think of that's the place where kind of you have a tunnel for the nerve, and it can move a little bit proximal, it can move a little bit distal, but right there it doesn't move very much. So if you put it on tension, it's gonna have more tension right there. And what happens with tension across a nerve is you have decreased oxygen saturation, and nerves are just voracious oxygen users. So if you stretch it, put it under tension, and decrease the O2 supply to the nerve, then it's going to get unhappy and give you symptoms. So that's kind of what's happening with him. Okay, so we'll demonstrate a slump test. So have you done a slump test before? Okay, so this is a seated neural tension test. So can you slide, so you're not, yeah, that's it. Okay, and just put your hands kind of behind you there, good. But sit up tall, so there you go, just rest your hands, there, good, you okay there?
Yep.
All right, so the important thing about this is figuring out your sequence. So stay up nice and tall, good, you okay there? I'm gonna have to come around here to do this. All right, now I want you to keep looking back there at your buddies, but slump, just slump. Good, but head up, there you go. Any pain with that?
No.
Okay, so now I'm gonna keep this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now just drop your chin towards your chest. Any pain with that?
No.
No, but.
My low back gets like kind of tight.
Low back gets a little tight? Okay. Can you straighten out, let's do this leg, can you straighten out that leg? What does that do?
It's really light right here, but not bad.
Okay. And if I do this,
Maybe that got better. It doesn't feel like it's burning as much in there.
doesn't feel like it's burning as much. And if I do,
Yeah, that does make it worse.
okay, all right. So nothing I did up here is gonna alter hamstring, gastroc, anything local, right? But it does change his symptoms. So it's just some nervous system, so central nervous system, little neural tension, okay? So if that lateral knee pain was a symptom for him that he was having trouble with, I'm gonna figure out some neural tension stuff and treat it that way. Okay, so that would be a positive slump test for lateral leg burning, tingling. Okay? Does that make sense?
When you instruct your patient on that test, make sure you tell them to do it slowly. The motions you have them do, so they don't just drop into it, because if they get
So is it that sequence where you have them slump, have them bend forward and then flex the quad?
Yeah, it's always the slump first. Sometimes I'll extend the knee first, second. But, with him especially, I'm gonna take all the tension out, or create all the tension proximal. Because now when he extends his knee, I can drop it down. Okay, go slow and tell me when you start to feel that burn.
Right there.
Right there. So it's easy to measure that knee angle when his symptom starts, and then I can use that to compare. So, questions on that? Well, not most important, but it's very important to understand the reasoning behind it and know where the nerves are going. Can you lie down on your back again? Because if I come up here and he starts to get some symptoms and I drive him in like this, that's peroneal nerve because it comes in front of the ankle. So I'm stretching it by plantar flexing and inverting, okay? Tibial, I come into dorsiflexion because it goes behind the ankle, right? Okay.
Yes.
Yes, all right. Okay, so what I'd like to do now, let's see, we did Thomas test, hamstring length, and neural tension, straight leg raise, and slump, okay? All right, that'll give Dr. Wilkinson time to set up for his SI stuff, and then we'll do that next, all right? So practice those.